Then. Okay, thank you for your patience, everyone. Welcome to AI Tuesdays. Today, Narcisse will be taking us through some interesting stuff, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot today. So, in the interest of time, we'll just get started. Narcisse,
Awesome,
welcome
thank
to the
you.
show. Oh, and my name is Tinashe Demira, sorry. And introducing Narcisse.
Thank you, Tinashe. I'm glad to have you on the show today.
Pleased to
Glad
be
to have
here.
you on
It's
the
a
show.
pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah, so I guess we can get started because of time. Today we'll be continuing to make our face recognition model using C#, mostly in console application. So we're gonna pick up where we ended off last time. So I'm just gonna quickly share my screen, and we're gonna first jump onto Azure where we ended off last time. Let me share my screen. Sharing. Oopsie. Sharing now. Share screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So first things first, we're gonna go into Azure, and we're gonna create. I'm just gonna show you what you're gonna need to create our face recognition model. As you may recall from our previous episode, we created our storage device using the Azure Storage Manager, where we're gonna be storing our pictures. Now we have to create our resource that we're gonna need to create our facial recognition model. So they're basically the cognitive services that Azure offers us. So I'm just going to quickly sign in. Password still the same. Sign in. Like I wasn't signed in. Okay, signed in. So now we've just signed in. I'm going to show you where to get your create your face recognition model. So let me go to my portal. Azure portal. Go into my portal, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully Azure helps us today. So as you can see, in order for us to create our face recognition model, we have to create a cognitive services. So first thing you're gonna search is you're gonna search custom vision. Custom vision, right? And I search custom vision. So custom vision is the what the resource that we're gonna need to create our face recognition model, basically. So as you can see, yeah, I have this custom vision resources already created from our previous episode. So I'm not gonna really spend time creating a new resource for our model today. So if you're interested in how to create a model or create a resource on Azure, you can watch our previous episode to know how to create a custom vision resource in order for you to use it in our model today. So that's gonna be key. So I'm gonna leave Azure there for now, and then I'm gonna jump onto Azure Manager Portal. The Azure Storage Explorer, where it's gonna serve as our data source for our pictures that we're gonna be using today. So as you recall, last time I was showcasing how to get started with Azure Storage Portal, and I was telling you more about the blob storage binary. Let's find out what blob means for people. Blob definition. So blob stands for um, binary large object. Binary large object. So it's a type of storage where you can store pictures, music, videos, etc. Basically unsorted data. Unsorted data that doesn't need so much attention to it, you know. So that's what blob stands for. So our pictures that we're going to be using today are considered as blob storage, or we can upload it into a blob type of data, as you can see. Now my Azure Storage Explorer is opening up. So as a quick feedback, everything that I'm doing on Azure Storage Explorer, I can easily do it on Azure. But the thing with Azure is that it takes time. It cannot always load fast and everything like that. So that's why Microsoft created a program for us to easily handle all our storage services that we have on Azure on our desktop through the Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer. And let me showcase it to you now. And there is it, as you can see. And now, and last time I showed you how to put link your account or your Azure account to the Storage Explorer, and that's what we did last time. If you're confused about that, you can watch our previous episode. And as you can see here, I have our where's my mouse? Okay. So where is my mouse? My mouse seems to be lost.
So, Narcisse, this is your storage. I see you're doing custom vision with it. So, what other things that do you have access to? Because I can see that there's a ML file. So, is it capable of maybe doing other things, or is it specialized?
Well, those are all my resources that I have on Azure.
Okay.
It shows up there. Like I told you, it's linked to my Azure account. So everything that I have on my Azure is automatically linked to the Azure Storage Explorer. I will
Okay.
showcase it just now, but my mouse seems to be giving me a problem. Okay.
Go cheese.
And then let me try again. Let me share my screen. Okay, let me share my screen. Is my screen visible now? Again.
I think so. Yes, it's
Awesome.
visible.
So as you can see here, I have my Azure account, and everything that is under my Azure account is listed over here, right? So now let me zoom out. So now, as you asked about this, these are all my resource groups that I have on Azure. So I have a resource group called ML, storage, etc. That's so if you want to work with your storage, your resource groups, you can also work with them over here on Azure Storage Explorer. But our main focus is the storage account. So last time we created a storage account, and we created and I was showcasing how to link up your storage account on the previous episode. So we're gonna continue from there. And last time I ended off by showing you how to create a blob container and how to upload pictures on your blob container. In fact, we stopped at the uploading part. So as you can see, I created a blob storage account, and I created a storage account, as you can see. And then after that, in the storage account, there's 4 types of storage I can create: a blob container, a file share, a queue, or a table. So we created a, a blob container. And inside my blob container, I have something called resources. So the resources is the name of the container in which, the name of my blob container in which we're going to be storing our files. So let me open it. It's opening, as you can see. It's opening, as you can see. Hopefully it doesn't take time. So while it's opening, we're gonna quickly upload our pictures to show you. So as you can see, it's opened, and I have a folder called face. So face is the name of the folder in which we're gonna be using. As I was telling last time, that the thing about blob storage is that it creates virtual folders for you. You don't have to worry about the location of your files or whatever you upload. It automatically creates virtual folders for you. What I mean by virtual folder, it means that folders within the system, and Azure takes care of that. So in this instance, I created a folder called face, so I know where I put my stuff. And inside my folder, let me go into my folder. I have another folder called images. So you can see face and then images, and then after images, I have my pictures. How did I get these pictures over here? Well, let me quickly show you. All I simply went to is upload. I went to upload folder, or you can upload file. So what I decided to do is upload a folder, and it's opening now. It's opening. Firstly, we have to upload our pictures. So the reason why we're uploading our pictures is to make it easy for our Azure model to work with easy to make it easy for our model to work with our pictures, to easily access our pictures. My bad. So since it's on the cloud, it's better for everything to work on the cloud together, and it's gonna work easier and faster instead of it being on a local machine and then goes into the cloud. It's gonna slow things down. So as you can see, I'm uploading a folder, my AI Tuesday folder, and AI, and then I have a folder called images. And inside these images, inside this folder, I have all my images that I need, right? I have all the images that I need. So I click images, and it's gonna be selected there, blob type, default, and then the location of of the folder that I want. Do I want to add any tags? No. So that's how you and you click upload. That's how you upload the folder there. And and if I click here, it's going to have all the images that I had in the folder. So that's the
Narcisse,
first thing done.
right?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, I wanted to ask,
Yes.
so are you able to upload other types of files such as videos or just raw data? Um, and especially with custom vision, does it only work with pictures, or can also be utilized for video images?
Good question. So to answer the first part of the question is that you can upload any type of files, unsorted data, as I mentioned earlier. So it's files, pictures, videos, music, etc. Basically, unsorted data, things that doesn't really need much attention to it, you know. So that's the type of files you can upload. And then the second part, we are face recognition does fall under custom vision. So in order for, if you want to deal with your videos, there's something called video indexer that it's another service that Microsoft offers, where it uses AI to analyze the people in your videos. So there's not like dedicated model that we can make to work with videos that as till date, but we're working with pictures, and there's a model that we can create to detect or to work with with images, with people in the images. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. Mhm.
Yeah. So as I'm moving on, we have our pictures. So now we have to make our pictures public. Why do we make it public? We may make it public so that our model can access these pictures, as you can see. So how do you make it public? You go back to our images folder, not even our images folder. You come back to your resource folder. As you can see, um, blob container. And then after that, you right click and look at properties. Properties. There's properties over there. And you'll see the properties. I'll show you how to make it public. And then after that, we're gonna jump to Azure. To Visual Studio. So properties. Okay, it's not here. So as you can see, if you look at the properties, you got the name, the URL. So the URL is the unique link that you can use to access your folders, your blob container. That's the URL. And this is not the properties I'm looking for. So if I go down, here's the properties that I'm looking for. So if you go down down at the bottom, you'll see your properties. You got your URL, your custom domain, etc. And you got something called public access. Public access is what will enable you to set to make your container public. As you can see, I want to edit it. Let's edit it. Uh, edit it. Public access. Oops. Wasn't it shown?
So, Narcisse, just for clarification on terminology, when you say it becomes public, does that mean anyone else aside from yourself can now access it?
Not really. I will explain that question now with the demonstration. So my bad. You right click over here. You come to right click, and then you come to manage access policies, and manage access policies. So if I come to set public level, and then it says set container public access level. So you want to set the level of how much it must be public. So no public access, public read access for container and blobs, public read access for blobs only. So I'm choosing public read access for container and blobs because I want to access my container and all the blob storage only. Or if you want, you can set it to blobs only, where it's only going to read your blob storage that you have over there. So now Tinashe asked, yeah, what do I mean by blob? I mean by setting it public, right? So I'm going to come to the properties, get the URL, and then we're going to go over to the Explorer to see what I mean. Copy, and then zoom out. And then let's go to our Explorer. So new tab, and I paste the link, right? So now there you go. So you see, I just pasted the link, but it doesn't tell me. It doesn't show everything in my blob storage. As you can see, the specified resource does not exist. It gives you this type of error. So basically, an individual cannot access your information on the blob, only you. But now the fact that I set it to public, I set it to public so that my program or my model can access the application, can access the data. Basically, that's what I mean by public. Public in terms of the model or the application that I'm working with is able to access it, not um not an individual person. But if you want to see the exact thing, there's also a way to do that. So if I come to one of my images, and then I copy the URL, let's paste it there. You can see the picture that I have is already there because I set it to public. But if I set it to I deny the public access level, I'll get the same error, as you can see. So yeah, that's us uploading our picture. So you can see I've uploaded one aspect of our picture. So now I'm gonna do some quick coding. Firstly, gonna open Visual Studio and start it from scratch. So we're gonna open a console application. Hope to be finished by the end of this session. So there you go, Visual Studio 22, the latest Visual Studio out there, and create a new project. Inspire SA Face Reg. That's what we're gonna name our application. So there's gonna be some whole bunch of new terminology that we're gonna go through whilst recording, and it's gonna be a lot. So I hope you can keep up. I'll try my best to explain it. Visual Studio. Don't know why it's taking long to load the template. Okay, it's loading the templates for us to work with. Loading. So whilst we're waiting for it to load, let me show you the pictures that we're gonna be using for today's. Oh, there's it. So console application, as you can see. After this week, we're gonna be moving on to web applications. So basically, how to salvage all these AI tools in your web application, etc. We're moving away from console. So I've been busy to console because it's an introductory level and it's easy to work with. Anyone can make it. So Inspire SA Face Reg. That's the name of my application. And then next, it's opening the current .NET framework, .NET 5.0, and it's loading. So as I said, while it's loading, let me... Yes? You're saying, Tinashe?
No, sorry to interrupt. I wanted to ask, for those of us without much of a development background, you said you initially started with console and now you're doing web. Is that correct?
We'll be doing web.
Hello?
Can you hear me? I say we'll be doing web.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
So
we'll
when
be
you said
doing
you
web.
started with console, could you please explain the meaning behind that? Because I'm aware of web, but I'm not familiar with the term console. And for those of us who don't have that development background, but are still interested to learn.
So console is like you see when you send a please call on your phone, right, to please call someone, and then you get a message. That's an example of a console application. Uses console to be made, right? So now console is basically the lowest, one of the lowest form of programming, or of making an application, where you have no graphical user interface. You're just using words to interact with your user. Words, yeah, you're using basically words to interact with the user, like that. You can put it like that. Yeah, but on .NET Friday, Tori, they had a more defined definition of what a console application is. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Does that answer your question? Awesome. So now let's get going.
Yes, yes.
The
Answers.
the first thing we're gonna do is gonna go to our NuGet package, right? We're gonna right click and go to our NuGet package. What I mean by NuGet package, in the package where we download all our APIs, etc., and then we'll be coding. We'll be coding. We'll be coding. We'll be coding. So browse. So the first thing we're gonna do is download the cognitive service APIs. The cognitive service API. So Azure, right? Let me zoom in. Let me zoom in. Where's my mouse? Cognitive service package. Okay, so I've zoomed in. So I'm searching Azure, right? Azure dot cognitive services. So we're downloading the cognitive services application. Oops, it's debugging. Okay. So Azure cognitive service. So there's it here. Microsoft Cognitive Services Vision Computer Vision, right? This is one. So let me get it. And install. So you click the black one to install it. Waiting for it to install. You need these APIs in order for it to work. So it's just installing. This is to deal with the computer vision. So we want the one to deal with face. Want the one to deal with face recognition. Okay. So this application will be on our GitHub repository if you want to play around with it. Want to play around with it. And there we go. It's installing. So NuGet package is where you get third party APIs, and also APIs by Microsoft, basically. So you get it all by on the NuGet package. So it's like a recognized or dedicated place to get third party APIs. So let me be more specific in what I want. Paste it. Wrong one. Okay. Okay. dot face. So if it's not showing, as you can see, it was not showing, then you can also include pre-release, Microsoft Azure Cognitive Vision Server. So it's not yet released, so it's in under pre-release. Quickly download it, and then we're also gonna get the Microsoft Azure face. So that's what we're gonna need, and then we can start coding because we're gonna need this for our application to work. Okay, it's done. And then the last but not least, dot models. Oopsie, it's not yet already. Let me search for it here. Okay, looks like it's not coming up. So the main important one you're gonna need is the custom vision cognitive vision service. Let me write it down for people to see, and then zoom in. Type it down. Okay, it's not working. So let me zoom out and get to code. But what's happening? Sorry, my piece is glitching. Okay. Okay, time to code. Okay, time to code. So the first thing we're gonna do is call our API, right? So this is the default hello world program. We're not gonna need it, so I can just take it out. Bye-bye. Take it out. Let me zoom in. Can you see my screen? Awesome. Tinashe, can you see my screen? The code, is it visible?
Yes, I can see it.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So the first thing we're gonna do is call in our using methods. So paste it there. We're gonna type it. As you can see, using Microsoft Cognitive Vision Face and Microsoft Azure Cognitive Face models. It enable me to access my models basically. So that's the first thing. We're gonna declare our using using our using methods basically. Are using information. So now after that, we're now gonna create a class, right? So basically, not basically create a class, we're now gonna set in the things that we'll need for our model to work, right? First thing we're gonna do is to declare or set an identity for our model, right? So before you enter the main method, inside the main method, before you enter the main method, you're gonna set what you're gonna write a code to give our a person group or a person group or what am I saying? A person group. Let me look for the right term. So as I said, there's gonna be something that you're gonna need to know. There's gonna be something that you're gonna need to know, and the first thing is um person group or face list. Yeah, person group or face list. So now what the code that I just added there is to give the an ID to our person group or our face group or our face list that we're going to be working with throughout the program. What I mean by face group or face list, so basically it's a list of faces or a group of that contains a lot of faces. Basically, that's what it means. And then the next part of our code, we're gonna be now we have to declare our URL to our images, right? After that, we have to declare our URL to our images. and declare URL to basically declare the location to where our images is stored. Remember, it's stored on our blob storage. So this is the link to my blob storage that we have created. I showed you how to get a hold of it last time whilst I was explaining. And then after that, we're gonna need our Azure encryption key, right? We're gonna need our Azure subscription key and Azure endpoint. So basically, what I mean is that the resource that we created, we need the key, the identity key for us to access it, and the endpoint, the address, in order for us to access it. So how do you get that? I showed you how to get the endpoint and the subscription key in a previous episode, so I won't get through that. And then the next part is so those are the four parameters that we're gonna need to access our model, to access our group on, what am I saying? So to access our our Azure resource group, and to access the location of our pictures, and to give our model a new identity every time we use it. So as you can see, if you look closely, constant string user agent. So this is an example of the AI IntelliSense that is in Visual Studio 22, where it predicts what you want to do or what you're going to do next. In this instance, I'm not going to do that. Isn't that cool? I would say. So now the next thing is we're going to have to call a model for us to work with on our code, right? Working on our code. So now what I did is I wrote a code to define which model by Microsoft, which face recognition model that we're going to be using. As you can see, create face recognition model 3. As you can see here in the code. Let me zoom in even more to define it. Uh, as you can see, recognition model 3. So the recognition model is the model,
So
the
Narcisse,
face
is there a
recognition.
difference? Is model theory referring to?
Sorry?
So is model referring to one of many models, or is it just the name that's been assigned? Is the
Good.
term model here referring because it's one of many models, or is it just coded that way? Are there many more models? If so, do they do a variety of things? Do they each do something different from the other?
So, good question. So basically, the face recognition model by Microsoft was created in 2017. So till date, there are 4 models that are out there for us to use, and this one is we're gonna be using is model 3. The latest one is model 4, which came out like last month. It came out like last month. So there are not as many models to use. There's only four created till date, and that's where our face recognition model derives from. And that's the thing. So we're gonna be using the model 3. Model 3.
Okay.
So then the next thing we're gonna do is create our. You're about to ask something? The
No,
next
no,
thing we're
no.
gonna do is,
Thank you. Thank you for answering my previous
okay.
question.
Yeah, so we are about to reach time, and I'll be speeding fast now. So the next thing we're gonna do is create our variables for our face list, or our face or our person group. I'm getting those two words confused now. So let me put some comments over there. So this is the variable to access our face list. You can see face list variables. And then this is the recognition model, code for the recognition model to not get people confused, right? Recognition model. And after creating a face list variable, so basically, as I explained, a list with a list of faces, or a person group, a group of people, or of a group of faces. Those are the two to remember. As I said, keep that in mind. We're going to be needing it. Then after that, we need to authenticate. We need to connect to our model that we create, to our resource group that we have on Azure. And that's the code we're going to be using to authenticate. So all of this is part of authentication, right? Authentication. And now apparently there's an error. So what is this error about? What is this error about? Um, okay, so it will come by itself. It will come up by itself as we continue. So now, after the authentication, we need to set some parameters or some guidelines for our model to follow, right? Using the things that we have declared right now, right? So now, what are those guidelines or parameters that we want our model to follow? So these are the models that we want it to follow. So we have face list client. We have so we have a model for it to detect the face, to extract to detect the face and extract it, find similar faces, verify to check that that there are similar faces, identify the people in the group, identify the people in the large person group, and to group them together. So these are the parameters in which for it to follow. So you're wondering why I'm getting all this red. It's because looks the using hasn't already kicked in. I do not know why it's not kicking in. It's not kicking in. So that's why it was really important to extract the uses before we started. It's gonna, and plus all some of these are methods, and these methods have not yet been coded for. That's why they're still in red. And after that, so you'll see them go out one by one. After that, we're gonna create a method to delete the people in the group, right? So this will be done at the end. So these are the things that we're gonna be doing, or the methods that we're gonna be coding for throughout this model, as you can see. And now, after that's done, let's now code the model to authenticate, right? To authenticate to our resource on Azure, right? So there's our authentication method that we declared here, and now I'm coding for it. I'm coding for it. And as you can see, live coding sucks. If you watch me type one by one, it's going to take long. So that's why I'm just coding it, copying and pasting, since I've already done it before. I'm just taking from here and putting it on the other side, as you can see. Is there any questions, Sinashe? No question is yet. Yes. So now we've created a model to.
For now, no. For now, no.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So for now, we're coding our methods that we've declared. As I said, we set some parameters to authenticate, right? So now after that, we're now going to detect our faces. So now let me be more specific with this. This method is to authenticate, right? This method is to authenticate. This method is to authenticate, authentication method. Authentication method. And I'm moving on. So if you go up, you can see the face, the one that was giving us an error, is now gone, and we're moving on. So after authentication, we now have one to detect our faces. So now the method to detect our faces, we have to list our faces as well. So we'll see just now how to show you how to do it. So the method to calculate to detect our face. So live coding, like I said, is going to take time. So here we go. Oh, this is too big. So let me zoom out a bit. This is too big. So now, as I said, we're now detecting our faces to detect the faces in our group. As you can see, this is the method to detect our group. So detecting faces, console the right line that detect faces, we're telling the user that we're detecting faces. And now, as you can see here, we have the name of pictures, detection 1, detection 2, detection 3, etc. And it's the same label that I have in my blob storage. So it's going to search for this name on our blob storage, as you can see. Right, thereafter it's going to do a for loop to go through the images and try and detect the faces in the images of a day, and with using the attributes that we've given it. So attributes like accessories, the age of the person, whether the picture is a blur, the emotion of the person, the exposure, if they have facial hair, the gender, the glasses, the hair, the head pose, the makeup, the noise, the occlusion, and the smile, as you can see. And then it's gonna tell us the number of faces that it detected, and it's gonna output with the attributes that it has found, as you can see, using the for loop. And now over here, as we continue down with the rest of the code, it now tells us we're now going in more detail whether the person is angry, content. So it's to the code for the attributes to more emphasize on the attribute. That's what this code is all about, to detect the faces. To detect the faces. So that's the first thing, method to detect the faces. As you can see, this is too much. I can see
So
that is too much. Yes,
Narcisse, I'm sure. No,
I
Narcisse,
can't hear
so I'm
you.
sure even those who don't have an IT background are familiar with. I think. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, it's better now.
Hello. Okay. I'm sure most of us are familiar with, I think it's called captured, where you identify the various images you're told to pick, like a bus or um, a train or a plane. So with this
Mm.
video, um, is that separate, like picking the face that inbuilt into the model? Um, in terms of verification of the model and that it's working, is in the background, are people verifying it by manually picking, or is that a separate a separate thing altogether? I don't know if my question is clear.
Well, I kind of understand it. Well, the thing that we're doing here is basically putting forward a certain number of pictures, and we're telling our model to detect the faces inside inside the pictures that we brought forth. So throughout the pictures that we have, is gonna try and detect the faces of the people in those images, and it's gonna try and give us all the details that we've asked for it,
Okay.
like the attributes, right? And as you mentioned, to detect the train and everything like that, that's part of object detection, to detect what's in the pictures. And the face is part of an object, so they kind of intertwine in a way, but face recognition is more focused than object detection, because it just detects the object. Hey, this is a face. But now with face recognition, it's more in detail, tells us more details about the face of the person in the image. In the image. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Mhm, mhm.
Okay.
So the training for the model, does that happen separately in the app, or would the model
Sorry?
have already been trained essentially, the model we're utilizing now, using raw data for recognition?
You seem to be breaking up. You seem to be breaking up. I didn't get the question.
Hello.
You still there,
Also,
Tinashe?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear
Am
you
I clear
again.
now? Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Now I was asking. So, the training of the model, like, yes, the training of the model, would that have happened separately for the model that we're now utilizing? Does the training of the model happen manually, like separately, and then that is the model we now obtain and we are now using for our face recognition? Um, would Microsoft have trained it in some way or gotten somebody to train it um, separately? I think, yeah, that's the best I can phrase my question for now.
Well, what Microsoft is doing is they're giving us the resources for us to train our model with. So they're not we so all we're doing is using their resources or their technology to do whatever we want. So if you want to detect faces, we can detect. If you want to analyze faces, we can analyze. So basically, I'm customizing it to do what I want it to do, basically, using using the technologies by Microsoft. Yeah, that's what we're doing
Mm-hmm.
basically. Does that answer your question?
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Awesome. So now
Yes,
I'm
yes,
just
thank you.
I'm just gonna put a bunch of code inside, and I'll explain what it does one by one. And then afterwards, we're gonna test it and run it and see how it goes. So I'm cutting the code and pasting it. Like I said, cut and paste. And we left it 10 minutes, so I wanna test it out today. Mm. Have you learned? So what can you take from today's lesson? Tinashe?
Yes, yes.
I'm saying, what can you take from
Hello.
today's lesson?
Apologies. Seems like we're having a bit of technical.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been learning quite a lot. I'm still digesting, but it's quite interesting to see how it comes together from the Azure services to how you've essentially combined the different models and tools that are available. So it's interesting that these are readily available already, and one does not need to go through the stress of implementing completely from scratch. So that I think for me personally is a take home. Just essentially utilizing what is already there to make your life easier.
True. True that. Um.
Hello, can you hear
Well,
me?
thanks for that. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. So now we want to test our application
Mhm.
because I've now added the code. So let me specify the code that I've just added now because I've added a whole bunch of code. So first thing, we had to set in our parameters for what we wanted our model to do, right? We put in the ID, the location of our pictures, and our endpoint from Azure and our subscription key from Azure, right? And then after that, we set the parameters. We basically set a guideline for what our pictures, for what our code should do. Let me zoom in more. 150, as you can see. And thereafter, so here's, we wanted it to detect faces. First of all, we wanted it to authenticate, detect faces, find similar faces, verify the faces, and identify the people in the person group, the large person group, and group them together, right? And then after that, delete. That's what we wanted it to do. That's what we wanted it to do. And thereafter, we set we wrote the method to detect the face, and then we also wrote the code for the attribute to specify the attribute like the anger, the contempt, the fear, happiness, sadness, etc., be identified on the person. After detecting the faces, we had to find the familiar faces or find familiar faces. And first of all, we started by categorizing them, right? Or finding pictures which are similar in a way. We see target image files, so it's targeting these files because we know that they are similar in a way. And then after that, we wrote code to put to train it to similar to find similar faces in the images basically and group them together. And then after that, we have to verify. We have to make sure that the faces that the model got are similar in a way. So this we wrote a verification code for it, as you can see, wrote a verification code, and thereafter we have to identify the people in our person group. Remember, we said a person group or a face list is a list of people in a group, or a list of faces in a group, or a list of faces that we've gathered. So we have to identify the people in the person group on the face list, and we wrote code for that. And after that, we had to this is all part of, after that we had to train it. As you can see, it's being trained now, the word code to train it. And after that, we group the faces. So after identifying the people, we group them together. After identifying the faces, we group them together. And last but not least, deleting. We had to delete it. as you can see at the end. And now what I'm going to do is run it because of time to end off today's episode. I know I've explained a whole bunch, but I've explained what the code does, and you can have access to the code via GitHub, and you can try it by your own as well. And if you have any more questions, you can also ask us, and we'll tell you all about it. So now I'm gonna run it first, and for you to see how it goes. Okay, it's running. We got an example of it last week, a test of it last week. So let me zoom in. So now you can see it's detecting. See, it's detect faces, right? These are from the pictures that we've uploaded, and it's detecting the faces, as you can see. As you can see. It's detecting. So, like, can you just look at the results, Tinashe, right? For in the first picture, it detected one face, right? Let me zoom in even more. Come on, man, zoom in. You see, it detected one face, right, in the first image, and then the attribute for the image for the face is the person is wearing glasses, the age of the person is 25, there's no blur, the happiness, the emotion of the person is happy, they have no facial hair, the gender of the person is female, reading glasses, etc. Can you see the this type of results? It's really impressive. Really impressive. So this is it's detecting the faces. It's basically detecting the faces, and now waiting for it to detect even more faces in what we've given it. Come on, come on. Whew. Like I said, it'll be a heavy session. Heavy session. So I hope. Any questions from your side whilst we're waiting for it to train? And now it's finding familiar faces, similar faces. Yeah, you may ask a question, Tinashe.
So with this model, I see it's yeah, I see it's giving us all these attributes like female 25, reading glasses. Is there any way to uh, see the accuracy of the model, or would you just is there any way for that currently
Yeah,
that you're aware of testing the accuracy?
In terms of percentage. In terms of percentage, or in what way?
It's just how accurate with regards to identifying the various attributes the model is.
Okay, good. So we're gonna do a test with that, right? So you see the location of pictures that are put was a test to show you that it's working properly, as you can see, right? We identified the faces and we detected them, and we told you about the attributes that are there, and thereafter we identified the similar faces in the images, and we verified that they're similar, and we identified the person and gave them a certain amount of identity and put them in the group, as you can see. As you can see, it's working properly, like the code is working properly. And yeah, so now to do the test, the test that you've mentioned, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the pictures that we're gonna be looking at. I choose the images, like a quick test before we finish off today's episode. Images. I'm showing you the images that we're going to be taking a look at. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, here's my images, right? You can see, let me open the picture. So we got a female, blonde, with glasses, right? And they're smiling. We can see for ourselves, right? We can see for ourselves. We got a male right? We got a man. We're gonna compare it. We got a man, and after we got a man, we got a construction worker, and we got three people at the cafe, right? And they're wearing glasses, etc., and they're enjoying themselves.
Mhm.
And we got a female as well. So these are, and we got an elderly couple as well. So these are the pictures that we're gonna test it with. So I'm gonna run the model again for you to see it exactly. I'm gonna run the model again for you to see it exactly, and we're gonna compare what comes out, right?
Mhm.
We're gonna compare what comes out. It's gonna be really impressive. Let me run the model again. Now we're going over time. Control F5. I'm running the model again, and you'll get to see it. And we're gonna do the comparing as I've mentioned. So the model is running, is running, is running. It should pop up any minute now. It should pop up any minute now. Okay, it's popped up. So there we go, right? Detecting faces. It's detecting faces, detecting faces. So right now we're only doing detecting faces, and that's how we're doing. We like to do a quick test to finish off, right? And now I'll zoom in so we can see exactly, right? So what is your take on this, Tinashe, from this picture that you see? Your estimate of the age of the person, etc.
Okay.
Your estimate of the age. How old do you think this person is?
Okay. So what does the result say?
Why? I'm first asking you.
Hey, that's a
What?
tricky
How
one. Let
old?
me say 20,
20
27,
what?
28, around there.
Okay.
Maybe even
Okay.
younger. Let me
Let's
say
see what the
25,
results say.
26,
Okay.
just
Let's
to
see
be
what the
safe.
results say. Awesome. Awesome. So let's see what the result says, right? So this person, right? Age is 22, right? You are close. Age is 22, right?
Okay.
And we can see that she's wearing glasses. And we can see that she's wearing glasses. And
Mm.
we can see that she's happy. We can see that she's a female and she's blonde. She has blonde hair, right? And then, yeah, and she's also wearing makeup exact
Okay.
as well, as you can see, right? So this is the first image. Now let's do another image. I think the last one for today, because we're running out of time, right? Um, so now this man over here, right? How old do you think he is?
Mhm.
Without looking at the results, how old? How old? The age. What can you tell
Let
from
me
this
say
person?
40, 45.
Okay,
Let me say
and
40.
also 40, 45. Okay, that's good. And we can see that he has brown hair. He has brown hair and he looks a bit grumpy, etc. Now let's see what the results say, right? So the result tells us that this person is 46 years old, right? He has no accessories. He's not wearing any glasses or
Mhm.
anything. He's not wearing any glasses or anything. And then he has facial hair. He's a male and he has brown hair. He has brown hair. So this is pretty cool, wouldn't you say? This is pretty cool. I'm just amazed by it. This is pretty cool. And unfortunately, that's where I'll
Next
end
week,
it
I'd
off
like to
for
submit
today.
my own photo just to be honest.
I will end it off for here for today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll end it off here for today. So there you go, folks. It was we just finished making our face recognition model, even though it took a long and there was a whole bunch of code. You'll have access of this code on GitHub, and Tinashe wants to test his image next week, and we're gonna do that, just that. And you can also find out celebrities. You can also look for celebrities. The model, you can also train your model to pick up celebrities from the images that you put, as you can see. So yeah, it was a whole bunch of fun. I know it took long to
Mm-hmm.
get to the exciting part, but it was a whole bunch of fun. That's what I can say of it. Any last word you want to add, Tinashe, before we end off? Tinashe is still there?
No, I was just interested. Yes, I'm here. No, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to show us this cool stuff, these tools. So it was interesting playing the guessing game there. And we'll put it to the real test next week. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And you're gonna take us through the Python aspect of it, right? How to make it using Python since you've joined the team.
I would be interested sometime. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So next week we
Yeah.
have AI gaming. Next week we have AI gaming. We have the introduction to AI gaming. So I'm also looking forward to that. So
Hmm.
keep in touch and we'll see you guys for Power Thursdays on Thursday since there's no episode again next tomorrow for Women in Tech. So we'll see you again for Power Thursday with the Power Ninjas. So stay tuned and subscribe to Inspire SA
Hmm.
and follow us on our social media handles. May enjoy the rest of the afternoon and see you. Bye.